Hey,
We're there? We good?
happy Friday to everyone around the world, children of Dash, east, west, north, south. Welcome. It's the Three Amigos podcast, and we are going intercontinental, global today as usual.
Yes.
Hello.
I say hi, Brian. Brian has to go first. Seniority.
Hey now.
All right. Mark is out of the office right now at the moment. His memory will forever be with us. He is involved in an untimely accident, by which I mean he somehow ended up in Cork, Ireland. Say hi, Mark.
Hello, I'm in Cork, Ireland. I'm in the HQ of Opera Incubator, and I'm joined by Graham, who you probably recognise, CEO, Festy, Bitcart, and also Fergie, who I don't believe the community have met before, who is one of the junior developers who actually works for Amazon as well, right? So
I'm done now.
Oh, he's done now. So this guy is a very smart cookie, and I think we're going to see a lot more of him in Dash soon. So yeah, it's all good over here. I've only really just landed. We literally just got him before we went live.
So sneaky point.
Yeah,
sneaky point, Beamish.
It's all good.
Got to see a live gig already within 30 minutes of landing here. We saw live music already. So.
Exactly. And guys, you need to update me. So there was some big news today, Joel. So there's this new head, global head of business development. Tell me more. Keep me in the loop. What's going on?
Oh, well, I only know so much, but there's a new head of business development for Dash. Yeah. In the past, it was handled by Daniel Diaz, but he had to take a personal leave of absence that turned out to be permanent. So in the meantime, they're looking for a new head, and they just announced they finally found him. Supposedly, it was a tight, small pool of applicants, and unfortunately, they had to turn away some very top talent. But this guy they got, let me tell you, he's got some chops. He worked for American Express for 17 years. So when you think about that, that's pretty significant, right? Because not only is that an established industry professional that we're attracting, but specifically to the payments industry. And this is very interesting. You think about who's going to be involved in cryptocurrency, right? Who's going to be the next big hire? It's always someone internal, always going to be someone who's been doing blockchain startups for this long or has done that and was a developer for that coin. But this is directly grabbing someone from the outside world, basically grabbing someone who is jumping ship from a sinking industry onto the new one, or rather it's the same industry, the payments industry. And the fact that a big name at American Express is going to be coming over here, that says a lot for exactly the direction Dash is trying to go in. It's not like this isn't just cypherpunk funny money. This is for real. This is for the world. This is going to get in the hands of everyday people around the world, whether or not they care about a blockchain.
So is he still based? So from what I read in the article, so he's originally from Arizona, but for the last 13 years, he's been working for American Express in Australia. Is he US bound now? Is he back in Arizona?
I believe temporarily he's back just for acquaintance and training, etc. But he will be going back to his newfound home down under.
Well, when I think American Express, I think back to my time recently when I was in Dublin at the Irish Global Pubs Award. Oh, we just lost connection. No.
Did we?
Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can still see you.
Sorry, I thought you lost me there for a second. Yeah, and I recall we were talking to Graham, just presented the Festy solution, and they were talking about Visa and MasterCard, and was talking about 3%. And one of the publicans came to us that was from America, and they said, well, American Express is actually 4%. So to have someone from the legacy banking world come back over and accept the Dash payment solution, actually see that we're here not just to rival it, not just to take part, but we're here to take over. So that's really speaks quite a lot, right?
It really demonstrates, I think, people moving just time and time again. People are moving from big companies from before and are moving into Dash because they realize these are more efficient payments, these are cheaper payments, these are payments that need to be taken to the next level. So you have the likes of this new hire, which I think is very exciting. I'm really looking forward to becoming acquainted with him. And if you're watching, congratulations and welcome to Dash.
Yep, definitely welcome. This is it's interesting. We've also, the Dash community has also received plenty of big names taking interest in, and a lot of this is still behind the scenes, so nothing big being revealed this time. Sorry, I'm just gonna have to tease you like the shameful man that I am. But there are a lot of big people who are big outside the crypto community who are looking in, and I think a lot of it is the same thing, the same reasoning why I came here. Right? I saw not only how important this was, but also how it was the future, and so just decided to get in as early as I can, right? And that's what I think. I think that you get a lot of pioneers that come in at an early stage that just realize that this is going to be huge and they should be on top. And those people will be rewarded for their foresight and courage, right? And here's the thing, that as much as I try to talk about how inevitable all this is right now, it's not necessarily. I think it is, but there's always a chance that like we spend our life toiling away for Dash, amassing master nodes with all our wealth, and then they just go to zero at some point. This thing just doesn't work. There's always that risk. But guess what? If you take a risk and you're right, you're rewarded. If you have foresight and you're right, you're rewarded. And so you see some big industry players. Now it's kind of, I think they kind of reached the momentum stage where they see crypto is, especially Dash, is it's too far along. Basically, they're saying the pin required to burst the bubble would be more than enough to impale Dracula at this point. It's not a pin anymore. You need to really drive a stake through it to stop it. And then basically they're seeing that there aren't very many stakes big enough in the world to pop this bubble now. And so now the risk has gone way down of just throwing everything into crypto, but the potential upside is massive, right? I mean, just we were talking earlier about one of my friends lives in Lyon, France, and he was I used to pay him to write articles with Bitcoin because I had a blog and I had no money and he had no money, but I said I can give you $5 worth of Bitcoin for each one. So he wrote 3 of them for me. It was $15, and now that's worth over, I think he said like over 1,200 Swiss francs. So that's how early it is now, and then how much upside is there beyond that?
We should probably mention this week's been huge because we actually surpassed the $500 billion mark within cryptocurrency, which is why all this bubble talks happen. Fergie's been buying up all the Dash. That's what's been going on.
Well, I gotta say, right, my girlfriend, she invested in Dash recently and successfully paid for next year's college. So she put in, I'd say, like 250, 300 euro, and count on about a month later, she's cashing out pretty financially secure for the next year. So
this is amazing.
I think the important thing to fulfill that, to ensure that this doesn't become a bubble, it doesn't burst, is like gaining merchant adoption. So I think that I'm very excited about what this possibility from this new hire can do. Business integration in Australia for payments could absolutely be massive for Dash. And what will happen to the ecosystem when people can remain in Dash and not have to rely on exchanges and third-party services to allow them to cash out into euro or into American dollars or whatever. I think that's very exciting.
The dashing in hasn't even begun yet. Just to repeat what Joel said, cryptocurrency is the pin to the fiat money world. It hasn't even begun yet. Cryptocurrency isn't even regulated. Institutional money hasn't even come in yet. We haven't even started. This is just the beginning, and it's exciting times.
Yeah, speaking of new people coming into the space,
sexy back.
Yeah, new people coming into the space. I know I posted this on our Slack, but yeah, there's been a lot of people coming to the Dash Force News Twitter, and one pretty heavy hitter in particular. I'm not going to call him out. Y'all can troll our.
You talking about a fighter?
I'm not. No, people can look it up for themselves. But yeah, there's some interesting people joining Dash Force News Twitter, and just a lot of people joining in general. Yeah, it's good times, interesting times.
Yes, it's definitely the point where you start seeing some celebrities get on board as well. And I hate to say, to be mean, by saying this, but celebrities are often behind the curve, not ahead of it. And so it's, I mean, that's partially the job of being a celebrity, is to be in the here and now, not what could be or what was in the past. So you had a question mark? You had a mark question?
Are you still in contact with anyone that you've tipped in Dash? Because you guys have just jogged my memory. And when I was in Dublin, on my way back to the airport, I tipped the taxi driver in Dash. In first, I was telling him about it. He actually was saying, like, I've heard about Bitcoin. It's a Ponzi scheme. It doesn't work. And by the time he dropped me off, I went to pay him in euros, but I said, look, first, let me pay you. I think it was about like 10 euros tip. Just download the wallet, just see how it works. And when I sent it to him, he said, do you want to pay all your fare in Dash? I said, absolutely. That guy now follows me on Twitter. That photo was on there, and I think it got over 300 likes, about like 100 retweets. The first taxi driver in Ireland to accept cryptocurrencies. And he direct messaged me saying, can I buy more Dash from you? So I was like, no, I'll keep hold of my Dash, but you know, you can go to exchanges, you can do all sorts of get it. So people are waking up to this solution. And look, if we just look at our friends, our families, our co-workers, we realize that we're still in its infancy. So last week was talking about Christmas cards, vouchers and that stuff, Bitcard, hint, hint. But literally, everyone watching this, have a great happy holidays. But when you speak to your friends and family, don't go crypto crazy. But if we can all focus on speaking to about 8 people and just talking about Dash, giving them a link to the Dash website, Dash Force News, #1 source of Dash News online, don't forget it. And it will make that difference. And this is what we all need to do. We're all playing a part in this.
Yes, I think it's so late October, I went to speak at the Texas Bitcoin conference, and part of what I did there is I gave 19 people their first $10 worth of Dash, and that was when the price was around $280 per coin.
Wow.
I mean, it feels like a lifetime ago, but it was like, you can be easily measured in weeks, right? Not that long ago, and then now that's worth like at least 3 times as much, right? So $30-$40 or something in that range. And so all you have to do is those people you hook up, just if you can afford a little bit, just give, say, $10 worth to your friends and family, and just make sure they don't lose it. And then in a few months, just remind them about that. Hey, once you check it, and they're gonna be, holy crap, it's this much. And then that's something that usually hooks them.
Last month, I saw the cutest post on Reddit, and I'm sure you guys probably saw it too. Someone posted a picture of a card congratulating a baby. So it's just saying like, hello, congratulations on your new baby. Here's one Dash. I hope when you're 18, it's enough to buy you a car. And I'm like, no, that's not going to buy you a car when you're 18. That's going to buy you a house. So, you know, and this was before the price like jump within Dash. So yeah, amazing times. Absolutely amazing.
Speaking of Dash, speaking of houses, just let me throw this in here real quick.
No. Did you hear that?
No.
Actually,
No, you gotta say it again.
People are actually selling their cars for Dash here in Cork. There's someone, he was selling his car, and I said, well, would you accept Dash? I kind of said it, you know, fictitiously, like, and he was like, absolutely, yes. Tell me more about it. So hopefully sometime in the new year, I can get myself a set of wheels and pay exclusively with Dash.
College fees, we got cars. It's all going off in Cork here. Taxis. Is this the new Silicon Valley of Dash?
No, it's different.
Yeah.
We're not wannabes here, you know. We create our own ecosystem.
You know, someone around here in New Hampshire is selling his whole house for Dash. So
wow.
Yeah, there you go. I mean,
Fergie's going to say something.
Yeah, I need to personally, we get paid in Dash here at Opera, and the biggest stress in my life now is when exchange goes down. Like I've been trying to get on Kraken for the last 5 days to sell for some euro. So like the most important thing that differentiates something from a bubble, you know, like the most famous bubble. I can't remember where it was, but it was for like the poppy or roses. That was in
tulips.
Oh, the tulip.
Yeah. But the thing is with the tulip is that it has no use, and like you look at the rates that Bitcoin is. When people say there's a cryptocurrency bubble, there's really a Bitcoin bubble. It's something with no use case. It's something that I wouldn't personally buy.
Too expensive to use.
It's too expensive to use. So like I want to be able to keep in crypto, you know, and like for a lot of things in my life, I've managed to be able to pay for. In Cork, it's pretty easy to work on a local basis when you're getting things like produce when you're living. So a lot of people are willing, I know, to accept that. But I still need my day-to-day to be integrated with crypto.
Well, that's it. It's like the thing that we're focusing on here and developing is technologies that follow good user experience. If we see ourselves within our company that when we get paid, so I pay all my employees in Dash exclusively. So when they get Dash and they tell me, like today, everyone had their laptop open, they were trying to get their Dash to their euro to pay their rent, and Kraken Exchange is facing an error 520 for the last 4 months. You can't actually withdraw any money from Kraken anymore, warning to anybody out there who's using it. So therefore, we see that as a problem. So we need to pivot, create a technology, Festi, which will be able to allow you to actually just stay in Dash and just keep going and going and going and keep building up these good user experiences. That's what will give Dash its value long term.
Can you tell me what? Oh, the project resistance contract. No, you're gonna hit me. He's gonna hit me.
No. There's a lot of research and development going on, which I was actually showing Mark here earlier when we made a purchase of some coffee here locally using some technology, which is quite interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's in the pipelines, we'll say, but there are a number of updates, you know, with Festi. You know, we have a number of festival integrations that we've moved on, which will be coming in March, from March to September of 2018. We'll have the release date of our MVP in March, and we'll be flying to a very interesting festival in March, which will begin proceedings. I'll let you guys figure that one out, and we'll be going from there. So yeah, some very, very nice integrations coming forward.
I wanted to say something about the tulips, the tulip mania thing. I don't know a whole lot about tulips, but yeah, there is no usefulness to them. And as far as I know, if they're like other plants, you can clone them infinitely, and there's those infinite supplies. So I don't know why they compare crypto to that. The tech bubble or something I could understand, but yeah, we don't know where it's gonna.
Yeah, the example for the tulip is in Amsterdam. There, back I think about 150, 200 years ago. There was a bubble was created around their national kind of emblem, which is the tulip. So these tulips were used in certain communities to actually pay for things. I don't know too much of the background of like what was causing the ability for people to just start accepting tulips, but this became actually like some sort of method of payment. And as you say, Brian, actually the problems that you just announced there, to keep on printing of more and more of tulips, keep on cloning them, these were some of the issues that were obviously in the end caused the crash of certain economies within Amsterdam, because they were relying on a useless method of payment. So it's like some people were comparing Bitcoin at the beginning and cryptocurrencies as the tulip bubble. It's about to burst because there is no inherent value. But now it's turning out that Dash has inherent value because it remains cheap, it remains fast, it remains non-clonable and proof of stake issued. So therefore it has value.
Yeah, I could see how it could. I could see how it could start off because you have heirloom tulips, but once those get out and other people start cloning them, I mean, it's going to be that's you could control the supply for a little while, but once they start getting out more and more people, you start cloning them. There was similar things that happened in Colorado in the medical cannabis industry with the clones. And well, let me say one thing. Last week, I made a joke about buying weed on Silk Road with my Bitcoin. No, I lived in Colorado at the time. There was a weed store on every corner. So no, that's just the clarify.
Can you do international trade with tulips? It doesn't work. It's 2017, people.
Someone start tulip coin, please.
Borderless digital currency. No governments, just backed by the free market and mathematics. That's the beauty of it. If all these people pile into Bitcoin,
now here's the interesting
don't
thing.
understand what it's for. They're just being greedy. They just think they can make a quick buck. If you get into Bitcoin, you're not going to change the banking system. You're actually keeping them in power. Yes, it's a store of value, but it's not going to change the banking system. You're keeping these people in business.
Yeah, I think it's about time people man up.
Yes, you know what's interesting? I thought it was a very interesting thing. Now, we're talking about Coinbase for a second because everyone likes to talk about Coinbase. Hey, live chat, get ready to blow up about, oh my gosh, Coinbase. There's some rumors that Dash is going to be added to Coinbase, but there's a lot of nonsense there. Someone did a screenshot of like, oh, Coinbase, Ripple, and Monero for some reason being added. And obviously there's no URL or anything there. There's no way to verify. And then some people were looking in the search function of the Coinbase site, and then they searched for some of these crypto names, and then stuff came up. And they're like, oh, it's evidence. But anyway,
No.
Coinbase was the #1 app in the App Store recently because new users were piling on to cryptocurrency. And here's the funny thing, though, is we all talk about scaling, which ones are better for payments and things like that. And what happened was, obviously, Bitcoin was already at peak capacity before this. And then people started buying lots and lots of Bitcoin. And then Bitcoin became too congested. And then they try to throw money into Ethereum instead. And then Ethereum met with a little dangerous animal called a cat, and just now doesn't work. And then you've seen Litecoin take an astronomical jump in price as people realized, oh, I'm a Coinbase user. I bought all this Bitcoin, but I can't use it. I can't move it at all because it's pretty much immovable. It's an immovable object. And then Ethereum, oh, same thing. I can't move that either. What's the third coin on Coinbase? And so they just dump it all into Litecoin. Litecoin gets a massive transaction bump and value bump. And so first off, it says something about user experience, right? Most people don't know or care about Bitcoin's user experience because they don't try to use it. They just buy some and have it on an exchange and just clap when it goes up. But when they try to withdraw it or whatever, then they have the user experience and then they want something else. Same with all of them. And all these sort of scaling debates don't really matter at minimal transaction load. But once you start having massive transaction load, then you'll see which networks can support it and which can't. And here's the thing on Coinbase, right? Everyone says Coinbase is like the holy grail of crypto, and to a certain extent, yes. However, Coinbase is the entry point for the average person hearing about cryptocurrency and coming to it. Oh, Bitcoin, I should buy some. How do I do that? Coinbase. However, Dash is weird in that Dash has this very non-crypto strategy of going straight at untapped markets. Everyone else is looking to support Bitcoin because that's the only thing they know will bring them into the whole mix. And then, hopefully, now we told them about Bitcoin, we can tell them about Litecoin or whatever. But Dash is going straight for places like, Bitcard and Festi and things like that, and then Alt36 and a bunch of businesses like that are just skipping everything because those businesses did not want to get involved in cryptocurrency, really. I mean, again, obviously Graham might was already involved with Bitcoin back then, but this is not I don't think the Festi world is trying to be, let's see how we can use Bitcoin in the real world. It's more of, let's see how we can have a viable business model. What tools work for that? Oh, here's a superior payment system that works for us. Yeah. Let's do that. And then just no one cares about the Bitcoin branding.
Absolutely. I mean, that was a significant change in our business model for the better to move into Dash. We have faster, cheaper transactions. We can scale a lot higher now with Dash. The merchant tool is just a better experience for users and for merchants as well. So anytime that I can stand up and talk to people, I talk to them as a merchant. Merchants can believe and trust other merchants because we both have an understanding of a business. And when people come into Bitcoin and they throw €100 or €50, everybody's grandmother is doing it now. But they have no idea what the fundamentals of owning a business is. And we are the testimony for Dash going forward for this.
Yeah, there's been talk about Craigslist and eBay both accepting Bitcoin, but it just doesn't make sense. I mean, I don't know what the transaction fees are today, but I've seen 10, 20. Didn't Albert say he had like a $75 transaction fee? Isn't that right, guys?
Something like that.
That's insane.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
I've got a question for Joel. This Coinbase situation, I agree completely what Joel just said. However, we have to acknowledge, I believe Coinbase has something like 13.3 million users. They're huge. They're the biggest, if not one of the biggest exchanges online. So people are very excited about the prospect of being added. But Joel, if I'm understanding you correct, are you trying to say that you don't feel like it's that important for Dash to be involved, to be added to Coinbase, or are you just saying there's a different way, there's a much bigger picture here that people aren't seeing?
So to paraphrase a quote from the famous movie Back to the Future, Coinbase, where we're going, we won't need any Coinbase. Basically, yes, Coinbase is the big gorilla in the room of crypto, but that's a teeny little room. I'm just saying, like, there's such a big world out there. You go talk to everyone who talks to who has cryptocurrency, who uses it. Very few people. And if you keep asking for the permission of the king to be free, are you ever really free? If you keep on looking at one centralized service as your gateway into getting this stuff, I mean, that's the thing, is at some point as an asset, right? Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are something you have to find exchanges, places to buy it from, because no one's going to pay you with it. You're not going to get paid, and you're not going to pay any bills with it. But
you
that's
can get your
one
salary
thing.
Dash now.
Well, there you go.
Tell us how it works.
What was that?
Just in case people missed your article this week, which was fantastic. Tell people how they can now be paid, get their salary in Dash.
Yeah, so anyone here, if you want to get paid in Dash, you can pretty much anyone. You go to Bitwage, right? You set up a Bitwage account, and what Bitwage allows you to do is they have your when you set up a direct deposit account with your employer, they can send a bank transfer to your Bitwage account. And so you don't have to say, "Hey, boss, can I get a can you do this Bitcoin service?" No. You don't have to have that conversation. You just say, "Here's where to send it." And then they go send it. And then traditionally, Bitwage, among other things, dealt with getting salary in Bitcoin. However, because of their strategic partnership with Uphold, you can get it sent to your, I believe it's like cloud savings account, or there's some weird word with that. But basically, you get it sent to your Uphold account directly into Dash. So you call it like a little two-step setup, and then you can get paid entirely in Dash as just a random, no matter who you work for, you just get your money in Dash, and then now you can earn Dash. Now, how can you spend it? Well, there's a handy site I heard about called discoverdash.com. It has like over 550 businesses around the world where you can spend Dash. It's especially nice if you're concentrated in and around Portsmouth, New Hampshire. But for the rest of the world, there's Bitcart, of course, allowing you to buy from Amazon.com gift cards and therefore access so many things. And then if you are one of the unfortunate people up there in Kazakhstan, i.e. Canada, I wonder how much hate I'm getting in live chat. Let me look over. None yet. Anyway, coincards.ca can get you a lot of different gift cards. And if you're in wonderful places like Germany or Austria, you can use Bitpanda to buy Amazon.de gift cards. So there's a lot of options out there for spending Dash and living on Dash.
Can we just talk about CoinBR this week? That was huge news.
Yeah.
So in Brazil, in over 13,000 locations at one of the most popular banks in Brazil, you can walk into your bank and buy Dash direct. And one other unique thing to Brazil is that you can pay your bills in Dash as well. It's amazing. So CoinBR offers many, many services, exchange, mining, all sorts. But in Brazil, when you get your bills, they have a barcode system, and so you can pay it directly. It's absolutely amazing. But one thing that I would like us all to talk about now is actually the Uphold exchange, because Fergie mentioned issues with Kraken. And Joel, I can't see the live Q&A chat, but perhaps you can open this up and monitor the comments. I've not used Uphold yet, but the exchange is meant to be really big. It works in 136 different countries. We're really excited about it. If it works really well, we should be promoting this. And I do believe they do euros and stuff as well. So maybe that is the solution for the Kraken issue that was raised earlier.
Yes.
Have you used Uphold yet?
So I know I haven't, because I'm unbanked. I don't have a bank account. I don't have any of that stuff. I'm just pure crypto and cash, right?
I signed up and I got approved. I haven't used the service. It's a really nice interface.
Yes, from what people have told me, it's a smoother and better user experience than Coinbase, at least as far as I believe you can buy Dash instantly or very quickly. It's not like Coinbase that you put in the order and then it takes like a week or whatever, which, no offense to Coinbase. I'm sure there's regulations, et cetera, that make them do that. But it's basically you just get an app and buy some. And I don't know if credit card buying is active right now. I'm pretty sure our buddy Albert has been the guy who's been working on trying to test that out so you could do a review. But but you should be able to just put in your credit card or your bank info and just start buying and selling and trade to other cryptos and just be like not so much of an exchange like experience, something that's just very easy and user friendly.
Yeah, these services are all great, but we have to remember, I don't know if it's on the official roadmap, but it's been talked about before in the different fiat gateway threads. Eventually these services will be baked into the Evolution wallet. So you'll be able to use, your bank account and everything will be connected in, or your credit cards into the Evolution wallet itself. So you can buy and sell right from there. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing about the way the Evolution platform will work. And obviously, Evolution is going to be awesome, all this kind of stuff that I don't usually talk about because it's not out yet. However, knowing the way it's designed to be a platform, there's what they call DAPIs or decentralized API. There's going to be DApps. Anyone can build a DApp to plug into the Evolution interface. So, for example, if you have your Evolution wallet, and of course, a lot of this is still speculation, right? However, I'm pretty sure you will be able to do something like you have your Evolution wallet, you can connect it to your Uphold account through the Uphold DApp, and then you just buy more, sell more, do this, just do everything for there. Oh, what if you don't do that? What if you're a Coinbase? Okay, then you add your Coinbase there. What if you have bill pay because you're in Australia and you use Living Room of Satoshi or something? You might have a Living Room of Satoshi DApp that you just plug in there, and then you just from the same wallet. Yeah, or what if you're just one of those old school people who? What was that?
It's a developer's wet dream, and it's one of the key things in Evolution that I don't think people fully understand. So the DAPI network means you can create applications to work with it. It's kind of like open source. You can build on it. So people like Fergie can come in and build. Imagine having a PayPal and you're a developer and you can add things onto that from your business, whether it's accountancy, whether you're doing CRM management, anything, you can directly plug in. So when you go to our Dash Evolution PayPal 2.0, not only can you see businesses connected where you might get discounts if people have added onto it, you can go to it as well. So whether you're, I've got a t-shirt store, right? So maybe I can do t-shirt fulfillment. So I can have an app directly integrated. So when people pay me through Dash Evolution, it goes straight through that app and it automates that process for me. Simple. That's a simple application Fergie could do in 20 minutes. This is the power, and no one understands this. It's a game changer. It's huge. Now, no one's talking about it. Well, we are.
Let's take it to different levels too. This is where it starts. What happens if you connect, for example, BISC, your completely decentralized client exchange, and then you can just buy and sell peer-to-peer on there? What happens when you add your Open Bazaar DApp and can just buy from anyone, anywhere in the world, an uncensorable client? Like at that point, the resistance is real, right? At that point, anyone listening and reading, etc., and anyone who owns a business or has run a business knows that a lot of the issues, a lot of things that make it difficult to operate a successful business have nothing to do with just doing a viable product and making a profit. It has a lot to do with, all right, so how do I set up my banking thing? How do I get my employees on payroll? How do I fill out all of the regulatory forms? How do I find all these different little solutions? There's a lot of friction, right? There's a lot of friction between everything you want to do. And all you want to do is, I want to make this, I want to give it to people and they give me money and I give that money to the people that help me make this thing. That's like basically most businesses, just that simple if you on the very surface, but then there's just so much friction involved in making that thing happen. So the Evolution platform aims to be the ultimate friction annihilator, right? Let's just
I like to say Visa, MasterCard killer.
Yes, but that's a little bit more specific kind of friction. Let's just do general friction. And so imagine how many creative ideas could exist. Like, what happens if you could pretty much any little kid, any designer in their basement or whatever can just think, oh, I have an idea for a t-shirt. And then they just make a little graphic, yay, and then they plug that to their store, which goes onto it connects to the Evolution marketplace that then instantly gets them paid. And then what happens? There's too many shirts to design and they can't figure it all out. And so they have to hire their buddy to do it. And then they just say, hey, if you do this, I'll just send you per thing. And they automate a little thing. And then before you know it, anyone can just get something done. Okay, that is a little bit of a disgusting shirt there, isn't it, Mark?
It's a t-shirt. It's a t-shirt just for Brian.
I don't know.
What do you think? Woo! This is one of the t-shirts I actually designed before I got involved with Dash.
But more important, I don't think that's accurate because I never knew that Donald Trump could do the splits. Seems to be doing that.
Yeah, he is pretty flexible. But anyway, you said t-shirt and it triggered it, so I had to get there. And these guys here, they love Trump. Actually, if any of you don't follow Graham on Twitter, you've got an interesting bio. You describe yourself as a socialist decentralist. Is that correct?
I believe it's a social decentralist.
Oh, okay, close.
Yeah, it's
as opposed
like
to most decentralists who are very antisocial people. We know one called decentralized who's pretty antisocial.
Yeah, we do try to expand sociability here and actual social use of technology and Dash. That's why Mark is coming out and having a drink later. So hopefully the taxi man will bring him home and he can pay him in Dash, because otherwise he might be lost.
Actually, we were talking about community masternodes earlier, and we're saying, like, wouldn't it be great when we get to that stage? But to get to that stage, right, you need to build that foundation. And I can only really see this happening in two places. New Hampshire, where Joel is, which seems to be like a Dash haven, or Cork, where these guys are getting businesses on board. So even if, say, for example, Operate Incubator had their own masternode, right? Say they bring loads of... Oh, can you guys still hear me?
Mm.
All right, okay. So I thought you lost me there. So say they bring all these business owners on board, right? Then they've actually got a stake in this. They can bring all these business owners in once a month when they go to vote to say, like, hey, look, this is actually going to change the way. Your input dictates what's going to happen in the future. You've got a say in this. Let's talk and discuss, because this affects our whole community. We're all a part of this conversation. So although we're voting on it, let's have the conversation and get the best outcome for all of us. And this is where we should be going in the future. But to be able to get to that stage, we need to have a organic grassroots movement and get these little ecosystems, economies going first. And I think it's either going to be New Hampshire or Cork with these boys.
It can be both.
Or both, simultaneous, right? We're decentralized. But this is why I really hope, and I'm really proud of these boys, because I think they can really make a difference in Europe, and we can use this as a template, and then we can roll that out elsewhere to inspire and bring new things to the table. This is what it's all about. So, yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on community masternodes?
Yeah, you can do contracts and set them up, at any time.
Yeah, so that was oh gosh, that was one of the thoughts that Dash core developer Mukau Mu / Masternode Share Operator was talking about today. He mentioned today he does not intend to ever offer voting services for his shares, and he gave a very detailed explanation why, which I will very poorly paraphrase. Basically, what he said was the amount of work involved to make it. Basically, the way he operates is in a very easily auditable way, right? He operates very transparently and something that's very easy to audit. And first off, how do you decide, like, for example, say you got 40 shares, right? 40 shares per masternode, and you got two nodes. What happens if 20 people in one share vote for one yes on a proposal and 20 vote no? Do you have both cancel out? Do you have one yes vote from one master and one no for the other one? How do you structure all that? And then the other thing is just the amounts of data points, right? So if you have one node votes 17 times, right? But what happens if you have 40 different votes times 17 for just one cycle, one master node, one cycle? That's a whole lot of recorded things like that. So anyway, basically that would be a little bit difficult, but let's try to think about just an individual node, right? Here's
It's
the thing
free
about Dash.
market though, Joel. Like, this
Yes.
is why we need other service operators, because if, say, for example, there's 4 service operators and then 3 of them start offering votings and stuff, so voting systems, then that's going to have a knock-on effect because the free market rules, right? Competition inspires innovation. So, however, I must say, Moo Cow Moo, I got my first share with him, and the communication's been fantastic. So his service is absolutely amazing.
He's one of the best. One of the best people out there. Yeah, it does a great. Well, here's the thing,
rich.
though.
I'm Dash rich.
Obviously, as a share provider, he has different considerations than people operating under a single share. For example, I do know some people locally who have a masternode or 2 amongst the group, the small group of them, because they couldn't afford one on their own, so they pooled together their resources. They have some sort of contract written out about stuff. One person, I would assume, manages the nodes, and then when they want to vote on the nodes, they all get together, talk about it, and decide where the vote goes. And they've sometimes asked me, "Hey, can you join a conference call? Because we want to ask you about what do you think about this proposal before we decide how we're going to vote with our one node or 1 or 2 nodes or however many." Yeah, so that's the thing is people say, "Oh, but you got to be a millionaire to have a vote in Dash." It's like, no, not really. You just got to, you could be 100,000 people with $10, or 10,000 people with $100, or 1,000 people with $1,000, whatever it is. You can have whatever state. You just got to get together and just decide how to work. So here's the thing, though. Here's what's going to be interesting as it goes on is people will start making shared masters, for example, and they will have, obviously, as soon as the technology gets to the stage, they will have multi-signature keys to access those funds, so no one person can just run off with it. Yeah. And then they'll have voting mechanisms to vote on where that one masternode's vote goes. They can also have voting mechanisms for where the masternode's funds go. If it's just a simple investment vehicle and they go to everyone, that's a little bit easier. But what if they all say the whole town of, say, Manchester, New Hampshire, right? Because that's about 140,000 people. Say 100,000 of those people donate $10 to have a share in this masternode. And that's going to provide all the essential services for the town. And then they all get together and vote for, which fire department contractor are we going to use? Which police service are we going to use, or whatever? And they all vote based on that, and then it all gets distributed that way. The possibilities are endless. And that's the thing that people don't understand about Dash. Most Dash users don't understand about Dash is the payment system is just the beginning. That's not the most innovative thing about Dash. The most innovative thing about Dash is it's the world's first decentralized autonomous organization. It runs completely decentralized, completely autonomously, doesn't need any outside funding, and more importantly, you can do just about anything. Like, can you imagine what happens when the whole world is using Dash as a payment system? Then what can you do with Dash? Well, how about we all pool together and we run our essential services in this town or that town or whatever, all on the Dash network? What happens when we want to start a nonprofit for something? We just run it all there. What happens if anything? Like, what happens when people decide that the Dash core development team is too valuable to risk any kind of harm? So someone funds, like, let's say, about 6 armored vehicles to go protect them or something like that. What happens when you start doing like the helicarriers for Dash Force or whatever? Like, how big can this get eventually?
Who's saying Brian doesn't have like 6 tanks and a private army protecting all these masternode owners now? Anyway, Graham was going to say something.
Oh yeah, yes. I think there's you made 2 really good points. I think one of them is valid. I think your latter point about the revenue that can be generated from a masternode to go into a community. The reason I suppose we're starting off with Opera Incubator to purchase its first masternode is generally a revenue motivator. So if our company can
generate about $50,000 to $60,000 by holding our assets in crypto in Dash, which we do anyway, then this $60,000 can go towards perhaps the rental of an office, bringing on new staff, business integration, and there's many good reasons for, you know, using funds in such a way, and a similar draw can be made to a community, giving it back for what you can conceive of local services. Perhaps down the road you could even envision universal basic income as being a reality via Dash, and then you stay in the community because the people paid out can only spend or can't spend their Dash in local businesses. These two things, I think, mixing up together is definitely very positive. Then you mentioned on the governance aspect of it itself. I think there's a lot of things that need to happen for the future, I think, to level the playing field for the voting and the output of masternodes. But certainly it's a good experiment for us to meet every month as a company and have a single vote each. And so it's a clear majority wins for each proposal. And we document this on our Opera Incubator website. And we show an example for other people that want to go forward and do this, the same thing for their company, for their community. I think there's a huge potential here that we can tap into. So that's very exciting. I hope to have the Masternode very soon. I'll probably be going to one of the two Masternode gurus. I don't know yet, so maybe I'll do a bit more research, but I'm excited.
Can I just ask Fergie something? So Fergie, as someone that worked for one of the companies, as a former Amazon employee, what attracted you to get involved with Dash as a developer, right? Because you're a smart cookie. So.
Okay, so I think it's something that's like shared by a lot of the people on the team as well. Like something that Ronan has said. Like Ronan was telling me that when he was started as a game developer, he was a game designer, but then he became a software engineer, and that's when you like these companies like Amazon. It's great if you want to like programming has just become implementing classes. So for the programmers on the call, in a lot of cases you're implementing blocks and there's no it's engineering, but there isn't much beauty to the coding. I think we're in a wild west. I think that's one thing. I like the corporate nature of these American companies didn't suit me at all. But this whole opportunity that's arisen here is like really making code with a bit of a difference to it, like a potential to make a difference.
You're making history.
Yeah, that's it. Like you don't want to be stuck there, making JSON parsers all day. So that, that's your job. I think it's that like a lot of people get deluded by when they see the great histories of computer science, and then they go to our colleges are all funded by these tech giants. Especially in Ireland where we've got a massive presence of these tax break companies. So even our computer science courses are geared towards working in industry, but there are no standards here in cryptocurrency yet, and they're being laid down. So I think that's why this is super interesting. The rest of code has become boring. Making apps is boring, but this is something more tangible.
Even our own infrastructure is evolving, right? So here's a question for you, Brian, because I know you'll be passionate about this. So obviously we got Evan that moved to Hong Kong to do the Dash Labs, right? And one of his main focuses on the roadmap is that he's researching custom hardware for masternodes. So we were just talking about service providers. So Brian, I can't remember when that was on the roadmap. So if you've got a fresh memory, fill me in. But this is going to be another thing that's going to decentralize those service providers, because at some point this year, with those custom hardware, that's going to have to bring in new people, service providers, to be able to facilitate. People are going to need data centers because this is custom hardware that you're not going to get from a standard VPS provider, right? So, Brian, do you know when that is? When's the custom hardware due? Or is that still?
It's a ways off. I don't even think it's not this year. Maybe not. I mean, it's a ways off.
Yeah, I mean that's a technical thing. I mean, I would love an update from Evan, because do you remember, Joel? I think he actually did an article on it. The last hire for Dash Labs was a GPU specialist, because they're looking into the GPU architecture as well to help with the facilitate the blockchain technology. He didn't really go into the much detail of it because this is to do with the research, but it's going to change the masternode requirements, right? So it's a big conversation to be had. We're not at the end of the discussion yet. The discussion is still being had, but yeah, nothing's set in stone. Everything's conversations are being had from all pillars of Dash right now, internal and external. And that's the great thing. We're all a part of the conversation.
Yeah, let me just talk about the hardware thing from a more present day perspective, right? Obviously, ASICs and the like evolved as they're going on to make mining more efficient, and scaling's a big thing. Oh, how's it going to scale? How's anything going to scale? And I think that a lot of coins don't really scale, and they don't know it until they have to. And so, for example, Dash is extremely far by like orders of magnitude from having a full blockchain, right? From having a mempool. And a lot of people are like, oh, look, you're increasing the block size for hype. You don't even need it. You're just a shitcoin, whatever. But think about this. What coin has anticipated its own scaling problems? Bitcoin possibly has been like, well, we're going to have to do this at some point. Ethereum kind of hit a big ICO and cat roadblock. And now it's like, well, trying to scale, but it's trying to scale while it's not scaling, right? Litecoin has 4 times the transactional capacity of Bitcoin currently due to the block interval. However, it's starting to fill up. I mean, I think most recently, Litecoin had half the transactions of Bitcoin for a moment, just because, which is unprecedented. I mean, it was based on the big Coinbase surge. And right now, that can increase a whole lot more. And what happens when that's full? It's like, well, do you have a solution ready? And so Dash is looking into the far future, because these things take a long time to long time to develop. For example, my buddy Ian, who works for Dash Corp, was talking about the concept of found work and development. About a lot of times with development, what happens is you think you have this much work, and by starting work on it, you find more work that you have to do. And so development always takes way, way, way longer than you think it will. I mean, not always, but pretty much always. So how long when you just, what was that?
How are we doing for time right now? Have we got any questions in the live chat? Fergie promised me a drink.
Well, I got a bit of news. I got a bit of I have a bit of news first.
This isn't broadcast Volvic, first of all. And second of all, Mark is coming for a drink. Yes, don't worry. There'll be plenty of updates on his Twitter later, so keep an eye on that. The reason Mark's in town is for our Christmas party, which is on Sunday. So actually, we are introducing Mark to some of our local partners, or developers, or merchants, or buyers that are integrating Festi.
And most importantly, to a good time. And most importantly, you're introducing him to a good time.
He's having a great time.
Speaking of, this is some
no frozen pizza though.
This is some local. It's essentially moonshine, but an Irish drink called Pachin. So we've been rocking it out for Mark.
If people want us to have a shot on camera, I'm not going to say no.
So I have to do one bit of news that's important, and it's kind of a two-piece news. So first off, the Spanish company BitNovo has integrated Dash now, and that's a pretty big one. And the other part of that announcement is it's available on dashforcenews.com, but not in English yet. It was our second exclusive post in a different language than English first, because as you may or may not know, Dashforce News gets translated into a variety of languages, about 6 extra ones as far as I know. And this is a Spanish language original. So if you go to dashforcenews.com and go to the Spanish language tab, you're going to see this.
Or /ES.
Yes, that as well. So it's a big international world, and I definitely want pertinent news to come out in the pertinent language first, and then roll from there. And so as we expand, Dashforce News is going to have a lot more content in a lot of different languages, and it won't all just be centralized, starting with the English, starting with what this jerk decides to write about, and then just disseminated to the plebes in other languages. It will be you might need to be multilingual to figure out everything that's going on in the Dash world.
So this is 2017 So like the dashforcenews.com website launched on April 17th. It's been an amazing year. Last month we had 177,350 page views, the most ever. So every month we've been scaling up. So this year's been great. Obviously, we're now an international news organization. So 2018, so we're making that transition now. Obviously, last month we had dashnewskorea.com come on board. We're now moving to dedicated international websites. And just to back up what Joel was saying, if you like the YouTube channel we have here of the News Weekly Recap, we're going to be getting those in multiple languages. We're going to scale to get dedicated writers for each language as well for these websites. So 2018 is going to be really big for Dashforce. Dash in general, 2018 has been amazing. What a great year to look back on. I think next Friday for the Free Amigos podcast, we should just look back on all the amazing things that's happened from 2017.
Yeah.
We need to celebrate. Like Bitcoin had its pizza day, right? You know, we've got our birthday, our 4th birthday in January, right? For Dash, baby. So we need to celebrate this. We need to celebrate our successes. You know, just like looking back on past proposal owners, good or bad, we need to look and acknowledge everything that's happened. It's all about the journey, folks.
So I know what needs to be. We need to have a Dash party, and the background music / on YouTube has got to be a video compilation of every single one of the insane memes Mark has made over the years about Dash. It's just like nonstop with the crazy Pepe frogs and the Gangnam Style dancers, and just we need like a nonstop and then put it on reach.
His kids are famous in Ireland.
Yeah, do the video where it's like a loop for 10 hours straight and just
like the Yule log. Yeah. One thing I wanted to say.
Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
Just real quick, I wanted to say on the shares, the voting shares on masternodes. Eventually, all this is going to be baked into Evolution. But Evan did say something about he could spin something up. I think that was in Joel's interview a while back, that he could do some kind of program. Yeah, that would be great. The faster that happens, the better. So maybe we need to update on that.
Yeah, he basically said if the interest was there, he would help out. And basically, in our comment section in that video, it was just like, yes, we want this now. We want this yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes, unfortunately or fortunately, the way Evan operates, he's very busy doing whatever he's doing at the moment at all times, meaning he's very difficult to find outside distractions. So, for example, I stalk him on Reddit, and he has 3 different Reddit accounts because he has forgotten his 2-factor authentication twice now, apparently. And most recently, he hadn't made a Reddit post for about 3 months. And then he comes in and he breaks the silence by making a post on Ask Reddit saying, how fast is the color blue? And then he just randomly starts talking smack about Bitcoin in another thread. And then he's just gone. He's gone for a while. And Evan's a great dude. And he's just very, very occupied in whatever he's doing at the moment. So you can't just say, hey, why don't you go ask Evan? Evan will come when Evan is present. Right now, he's doing other things. You can't just like reach in, throw an email into his inbox and just expect to like, oh, he'll get to it eventually. It's like, nah, that's not how he works. You kind of have to like catch him at the right moment.
Or maybe somebody needs to make a Reddit post and he'll probably respond to it and see what he says.
Yeah, just do something about like, flying helicarriers of doom to like host all these crypto satellites and launch everything, and then he'll just pop in and just say, Dash can afford this, and you're like, well, wow, now that we got you, Evan, can I ask you this other question? And hope you still.
How's the live Q&A? Is it active? I can't see. So have we got any questions? Or
someone says,
James Bond says he will send me 1 Bitcoin if I take my shirt off live stream. I don't think anyone wants to see that before summer. I got a little bit of weight cutting to do, but after that, I will happily do that and get a little bit of coconut oil to work on my pec bouncing game. But I got a few months out for that. So who else? Let me see. Nice to have a party in April. Yep. Anyway, Yeah, I think everyone wants party mode, and so I think it's time to very soon conclude this and move on to the after party. So, for those who don't know, the vibrant and amazing Dash community has its home on Discord, dashchat.org. Although I'm not sure, I heard rumors that the URL was not working last time I checked. But anyway, save that for another time because it will eventually work again. Dashchat.org. You get into the Discord channel. And it's gonna be great. And then there's just start asking around about where's the Three Amigos after party. We can only have 10 people at a time, but we talk. Sometimes some of the best stuff is actually off air in these after parties, late into the night. I've hired someone from one of those. I mean, it's interesting stuff happens. So I'd like to leave that little air of mystery and make you guys believe that we might have more going on than we do. So.
Well, last time it went on till 5 in the morning. I was there till.
Jesus, Mark, that's like 12 hours of talking.
Yeah, it is. What can I say? Good to go.
Also known as a good warm-up.
Due to popular requests on the chat, we are going to have a shot of 70% moonshine. So
this is how we will end the podcast.
If you got a drink, Joel, give us a cheers, man.
Come on, you got a beer. I saw you had a cheeky beer, Joel. Come on.
No, I finished it. And sorry.
Cheers, lads. Have a good night.
Cheers. Cheers. Dashboards, baby.
Woohoo.
Woohoo. Look at strip paint.
Jeff deal. It's Jeff deal, yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, the work portion of the day is officially concluded. So see you all in the after party, I hope.
Excellent. Be there or be square.
I want to give a big shout out to our proposal for Weechi as well, by the way, for the Dash meetups. Hope to see your votes, guys, and your comments. We really appreciate what you've done so far and everything you've commented. So yeah, we hope to serve you and give more events for Dash and for Festi and for this ecosystem, and to get it into companies and big companies around the world. So yeah, thanks very much for your feedback.
Is she here tomorrow?
She's going to be here tomorrow and Sunday, yeah.
I'll speak to Weechi more tomorrow, aka Cisco, because she is the queen of networking.
We can get an interview as well if you want, and if you want to put her on the spot, she's well able.
I might do that. Awesome. Thank you, Joel. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Right, thanks. Yep, have a good one.
From the Dash tree.
On to the after party. As always, admire the Dash tree and stay dashy.
Stay dashy.